Hello, everybody. I'm Krasia Tasio. I'm a sidereal astrologer, and I will talk about a fascinating topic, and this will be about the herbs related to astrology, the herbs which are related to the planets and the stars. I will talk about this in a very simple to understand way so that you can really use this knowledge in your everyday life, so that you can really be more connected with the botanical world. So this is what you can see in the literature, like botanical astrology or just herbal astrology, since very, very ancient times, since the times of ancient Mesopotamia. Herbs and gemstones are being related to astrology and are being used together for healing, for magical, for the purposes of astral magic. So I will go that back to share with you some interesting facts about herbs and planets and stars, which come from ancient Mesopotamia and mainly from the knowledge of Hermes, at least attributed to Hermes. And I will do it in a very understandable way so that you can really make use of it, because it's a magical thing and it connects you more, even more, to the nature and to the spirit world. So I will start with a fascinating story coming from a physician, a doctor, called Thessalus, who lived somewhere in the Roman times in the first century after Christ, when approximately at that time the spring equinox was in the 0 degrees Aries. But what is the story about? This physician, known as Thessalus of Teos, I'm not sure how they pronounce this ancient city. Once he found a book of the Egyptian king Nehepsu. In this book, Nehepsu, he was the Egyptian king who was a priest, who was a saint priest, who had amazing knowledge of astrology, astral magic, stones, herbs. So there was a book of Nehepsu, written by Nehepsu, where he was talking about 24 herbs related to planets, which herbs heal the body completely from every disease. So Thessalus was very fascinated about the knowledge of Nehepsu and was trying to apply the knowledge in his medical practice, but he didn't manage to cure even one patient. So, of course, he was very discouraged. Even he was talking about suicide. So you can imagine how disappointed he was. And this is a true story, set in a letter that he wrote at that time to the Roman emperor. But what is happening further in the story? He traveled somewhere in Egypt, and he found a priest, a magician, who helped him to connect with the spirit of Asclepius, you know, the god Asclepius, who is related to medicine. And then he asked Asclepius why this work of Nehepsu is not, why all these plants and herbs associated with planets, associated with diseases, promising to cure every disease of the body, why they didn't cure any of the diseases. And Asclepius, who came with the help, his spirit came, and it was a sort of revelation. So Asclepius came via the help of this magician, and he said, Nehepsu was great, his knowledge was divine. So you know how they spoke in the ancient world with all these compliments for the king Nehepsu. But he said he didn't know the timing of picking up the herbs, of gathering the herbs, and the moment and the place. Timing and the place of picking up, gathering the herbs. So here we learn two things. The place, of course, is very important. And secondly, the planetary moment, the planetary day, and the planetary hour are key for gathering the herbs. And the third, but actually the most important, is if you want your herbs to work, to help you, to have divine power, you don't go and buy them from the store, from the herbal store, from the pharmacy. You gather them yourself. It is not difficult to learn the basic herbs associated with the planets. So I wanted to start with this, as it is really emphasizing on the whole herbal astrology, because we need to gather our plants ourselves. We need to do it in a planetary day and planetary day moment, planetary hour, which belong to the particular planet and herb. I will list, and maybe I will put it under this video so that you can really make use of it, but I will list some herbs associated with the planets. In the literature, and there is very interesting book, ancient, it is English translation, I think from Latin. It is called KYRANIDES. And this book I uploaded on my website, so you can, I'll also put a link, you can see the book of KYRANIDES, attributed again, very often in the book Hermes is mentioned. So this is Hermetic knowledge. And KYRANIDES is giving quite complex herbal advices, but what you can learn in general from KYRANIDES, and why KYRANIDES is such a useful book, is that there you see that the color of the planet is associated with the color of the gemstone and is associated with the color of the herb. Well, with the herbs, of course, and with the gemstones, look at my video about the gemstones. Very recently, I put it on my website. But with the herbs, of course, we need to be careful because they have medical and magical properties. So we really need to be on the safe side with gathering herbs that we really know. So what was done in ancient Mesopotamia? I will give you the colors of the planets. I will list some herbs, and you'll see how useful this can be in your everyday life. When you know which organs the planet is healing, is responsible for, then you have the key of healing yourself, because then you will link herb, planet, to the afflicted organ, to the suffering organ, and then you can help yourself enormously. For example, just a very simple example, Saturn is associated with gray, dark gray, or black. Saturn also, the herbs of Saturn often are those with small dark colors, or yes. One of the very famous herb of Saturn is Nigella sativa, and this is the black cumin. It is a plant, Nigella sativa, which was used since very ancient times for healing purposes, and the oil was extracted and was healing, and is healing cancer and many diseases. Saturn, who is causing all hidden diseases? Who is who is the reason behind many cancerous diseases? This is Saturn. So when you take Saturnian herb, like Nigella sativa, the seeds or the oil, you have a cure. So be very cautious, of course, and be sure that you have the right knowledge of herbs. But as a start, I'm giving you information how you can really benefit. Another example, before I continue. The moon. There is lavender is associated with the moon, and it resembles very much the color of the moon, you know, purple, gray, exactly typically the color of the moon. What is known, and with this herb you're always on the safe side, that if you put drops of lavender on your pillow, you sleep good. Who is responsible for the sleep? The moon. So you see how perfectly the things match. And if you add to this the gemstones, you can create, but once again, I'm making a disclaimer here. This is not a guidance how to do astral magic. For this, you certainly need quite some time of practice, good knowledge of astrology, good knowledge of gemstones and medical herbs. I am just giving you indication on how to use herbs, relate them to planets, be more connected to the spirit and divine world, and this way help yourself enormously. So this was just 2 examples to show you how connected everything in our universe is. Planets with herbs, with gems, just everything is so interrelated and connected that it is amazing. And this is part of the main Hermetic rules about the microcosmos and the microcosmos. But okay, I will now tell you what they did in Mesopotamia with the herbs. They would not pick the herb just like that. First, they would, of course, put the diagnose and know which herb they need. Then they would go in the evening before the moon is seen on the western horizon. They will pick up the herb, they will decide which herb they will pick up. They will make a circle around the herb with flour, just the bread flour. So they will make a circle around the herb, and then they would cover it with a white towel or white fabric. And in the morning, when the sun comes to shine on the eastern horizon, they will pick up the herb with a ritual, asking for permission, asking the rulers of the herbs for permission and explaining the purpose of picking up this herb. Then they will replace it by seeds. So if they gather the herb, if they take out the root, they will put instead seeds, so that it's kind of gratitude, or it's a desire not to harm the nature. And they will do this on the right planetary day and on the right planetary hour. After this video, I will make a short video because I don't want to dilute this topic. I will make a short video on how to see the planetary days and the planetary hours. But the planetary days are very simple to remember. Monday, moon, related to the moon. Tuesday, Mars. Wednesday, Mercury. Thursday, Jupiter. Friday, Venus. Saturday, Saturn day, Saturn. Sunday, the sun. And in a short video, I will also place some comments under this video. I will explain how you follow up also the planetary, the night hours, the planetary nights and the planetary hours. It's a very simple thing and it helps enormously. So if you, for example, will be picking up the herb of the moon, it is good to do it on Monday, on the hour of the moon. This is what Nehepso was missing in his book. That is why his herbs simply didn't work. And the place. The higher, the closer to the stars, the most powerful the influence. The higher we climb in the mountains, the more powerful the herbs will be. Well, I will tell you that I gather herbs from everywhere, trying to get zones which are free of pollution, of course, in the forests. So this is good enough. And yes, and very powerful moments of picking up herbs are around the vernal equinox, because this is around the equinoxes in general, but especially the vernal equinox. After the first lunar crescent, it's like when the sun goes in the 5th degree Pisces, you wait to see the first lunar crescent after this moment, and around this day, 10 days before or 10 days after, you can pick up herbs. The same is valid for the autumn equinox. Then the nature is so powerful and the herbs are so much charged. I will now read a list that I have from Agrippa, Cornelius Agrippa. And I will also place a link under this video where you can see his book where he's listing herbs related to planets. So I will, of course, different authors give different relationship between planets and herbs, but I have a great author, and I'll show you my books, which are always next to me. And this is Culpeper. Look, Culpeper, Complete Herbal. And then I have another book of Culpeper, Color Herbal. And here he is placing great, you see, paintings of flowers, herbs, and he's always stating which planet is ruling them. Like mint. And then he's saying a plant of Venus. Not only. You will see that most of the plants have mixed rulership, because I will tell you that the mint is ruled also by the moon. Do you wonder why the mint is so much helping for the stomach ache? If you have stomach ache and you get mint tea, you feel relieved immediately? Well, it is because it is ruled also by the moon. So these two books are just magic, and I bought them from Amazon, not expensive, and they are really next to my to me all the time. So I will tell you now some interesting herbs associated with planets. I am starting with Saturn, and I'm reading herbs, mandrake, opium, those things which are never sown, never bear fruit, because Saturn is not generous in terms of fruit. Berries of a dark color, black fruit, as the black fig tree. And I told you about the black cumin, which is for sure Saturnine. Doesn't matter that Agrippa didn't mention it. Jupiter, basil, mastic, oak, horse chestnut, hazel tree, holm, white fig tree, apple tree, pear tree, olive tree, sea green, mace, spike, almond, pineapple, pistachio nuts, rhubarb, manna. And here I will tell you that Jupiter likes a lot marigold. And there is a mixed rulership on the marigold, the sun and Jupiter together ruled marigold. Also some fruit, mandarin, orange, have mixed rulership. Jupiter, the sun. So yes, also the sunbloom. When the sunbloom is still like a flower still and not ripe, it belongs to Jupiter. When it becomes very ripe, it belongs to the sun. Okay. Then Venus, beryl. These are all pink, sweet, pinkish color stones, but sorry, I talk about this in my other video. Now, herbs, red sandal wood, coriander, amber, all sweet perfumes, rose, of course, sweet fruits like strawberries, sweet pears, figs, pomegranates, strawberries, roses, as I said. Mars, garlic, radish, laurel, poisonous with herbs with too much heat, like the chili peppers, burning the skin and eyes, garlic, leeks, mustard seed, thorny trees, dogwood tree. Sun, I told you, sunbloom, but the one that is very ripe. Marigold, sunflower, those which fold in their leaves when the sun is setting. Peony, balm, ginger, gentian, I don't know which one is this. The bay tree, celandine, cedar, palm tree, vine, mint also. So you see, mint has many rulerships, but I think the main rulerships of the mint comes from the moon and Venus. Mastic, saffron, cloves, cinnamon, yellow honey, Libanotis, Lignum aloes, calamus. Some of them are not familiar to me. Mercury. You will see that all these herbs and plants with small blooms, often green or purple color, belong to Mercury. So all plants with tiny flowers, as I said, with mixed colors, hazel, herb, Mercury, there is such herb, marjoram, parsley, moon, which turn towards the moon. So you have really such plants which in the evening would face the moon. I know some. Rosemary, agnus cactus, olive tree, chinosta, many others. So yes, this is about the 7 planets. But it is not about learning them by heart. It's good, of course, to have such small encyclopedia and check. It is about helping yourself, always with good knowledge, staying on the safe side, but helping yourself when you know the color of the planet. And here are the colors. Of course, if we start with Saturn, I told you, it will be dark, either black or gray. Then you have Jupiter, white, yellowish. Then comes Mars, red, of course, orange, red. So are the gems which belong to Mars. Then you have Venus. Venus, well, the color of Venus, I am not very sure about the color of Venus, but the color of Venus will be, again, lighter than Mars for sure. But the herbs of Venus are more associated to beauty, and they are pinkish, sweet colors, like the tourmaline colors, you know, the roses, but not they're very red because then they will belong to Mars. Mercury, blue, green, changeable color. That is why, and he's considered small, and he's the smaller of the solar system. That's why all these tiny, small herbs belong to him. And of course, the moon, we said the moon will be white, like the pearls which the moon likes, like the, yes, so also many white flowers belong to the moon. But again, be cautious when using this knowledge, and be sure that you really deepen it with the right literature before you start using it and experimenting for yourself. You can experiment with harmless herbs like mint, like other teas, for example, which you see how they work on you. If, for example, Saturn is afflicting your moon and you have often stomach pain, try with the mint tea or other herbs which belong to the moon and which are known not to have side effects. So it's very important that you really stay on the safe side. I personally use this knowledge. I use it enormously for astro magic. Then I link for creating astrological talismans, but then I link herbs with gemstones, and not necessarily for intake. I use them for charging and giving planetary power to the gemstones and to the astrological talismans. So you can use it either for healing purposes or to have better view on the botanical world. You will be walking in the nature and you will see herb. Try to think which planet is ruling this herb, and check in one of these books or online. If you find culpepper online, you can also see the interesting links between planets and herbs that he is making. But with the time, with experience, you will already have enough knowledge to recognize. And you may experiment, of course, but be very, very cautious and be sure that you obtained enough knowledge before getting. And I will tell you, again, another interesting knowledge. It's coming, it's about the mandrake. And of course, yes, there are stars, fixed stars, which are associated as well with herbs. Some of them we know, but of course not all of them, not the herbs of all known stars we know. This will be impossible. And I will finalize with this interesting story. it is about the mandrake, the mandragora, which is believed, you know, the mandrake, when you plant them, I think it became famous with Harry Potter. And the mandrake, when you see the roots of the mandrake, they have the shape of a human body. But when you try to pick up the mandrake, it is screaming, they say in the legends, so it can kill even somebody. But if somebody is deadly ill and you put the mandrake next to his bed, it is said in the text that he may recover. Okay, this was just a funny story. We don't know how true is this. But I will tell you that mandrake, mandragora, is one of the herbs associated with speaker. So also with Saturn, they have mixed rulership. That's why we have to be very cautious. But I hope with this to have given you some information to raise a little bit your interest in the botanical astrology, and also to make this very helpful for you. Thank you. And under this video, you will see some links to some books and some interesting information. And in the next video, I will explain you how to make use of the planetary hour and the planetary day. Because if you pick up a rose on Friday and on an hour of Venus, this rose will have much more powers and will beautify much more. Pick is not to destroy it, but you know how careful we need to be when picking up living plants. Either replace it or use it only for real medical purposes. So planetary hour and planetary day is very important, and you saw as Asclepius said, that is why the book and the 24 plants of Nehepsu did not work, because they were not gathered in the very right moment and from the very right place. With this I complete. Thank you.